Good morning, boys and girls. This is Miss Golias. Today we are going to continue with chapter 23, which is converting measurement. Here's a list of some materials that'll be helpful as we go through this lesson. You need your Ready instructional book. We'll be working on pages 248 and 249. You need your Ready practice and problem solving book, which we'll get to at the end of the lesson, but you'll be working on pages 257 and 258. You also, of course, need a pencil and a piece of paper. Here are the lesson objectives. So these are the I cans, what you should be able to do after the end of the entire chapter, or lesson 23. So I can identify the units of measurement within the metric system. I can convert measurements from a larger metric unit to a smaller unit within the same system. And I can use a conversion table to show equivalent measurements within the same system. Your lesson vocabulary is the same as from the previous two lessons. Convert, which we're converting units. So it's to write an equivalent measurement using a different unit. And then the second word we have is metric system. The measurement system that measures length based on meters, liquid volume based on liters, and mass based on grams. All right, so we have our step 1 from our Ready problem. Remember, we need to make sense of the problem. We should be reading the problem at least 3 times to get a good understanding of the problem. And while doing so, we have some questions up top there that we need to ask ourselves. So let's go ahead and read the problem. Julie made 4 liters of orange juice. How many milliliters of orange juice did Julie make? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, well, what is this problem about? What are we talking about? And we're talking about measurement of juice. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, what are you trying to find out? All right, so Julie made 4 liters of orange juice. How many milliliters of orange juice did Julie make? So I'm trying to find out how many milliliters of orange juice Julie made. And then the next question to ask yourself is, what information is important? And this is where we are going to cube our problem. All right, so Julie made 4 liters of orange juice. We need to know that she's using the measurement of liters to begin with. How many milliliters of orange juice did Julie make? So I'm going to underline my question. And that, of course, is what we're trying to find out. And then finding some more important information, we need to look at the words how many. And then milliliters is a huge term that we need to pay attention to when solving this, because we are now converting liters to milliliters. All right, one thing that'll be helpful to know when converting this problem is you need to know how many milliliters are in a liter. So 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. All right, so let's read this problem one more time, and then I'm going to give you guys some time to work on solving this problem. Julie made 4 liters of orange juice. How many milliliters of orange juice did Julie make? So of course we move on to step 2, where you need to solve this problem. You need to record your thinking, so show your work, and then once you've solved it one time, go back and solve it a second way. So go ahead and pause this until you've solved it at least 2 different ways, and then continue on with the PowerPoint. right, so let's move on to the think, pair, share. We need to discuss your thinking with someone. So if you have a parent at home or a brother or sister, I want you to explain how you solved this problem to them. So some discussion starters to get you started. Sharing your thinking. I knew blank, so I blank. I don't understand how blank. If they're there solving the problem with you, you could of course ask them how did they get started. And then you could even disagree or agree with what they've done. So go ahead and take a few minutes and discuss your thinking. Pause the video and then go ahead and resume it when you're ready to move on. All right, so here is where we are going to discuss the different ways of solving this problem. So I'm going to move on and look at the next slide where we have the examples from Ready and how they solved the problem. And then you need to look at how you solve the problem and compare and contrast the two. So what did you do that was similar? What did you do that was different? All right, so these are the Ready strategies. The first strategy they used was picture it. It says you can use a picture to help convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit of liquid volume. Each beaker shows that 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. And this is that information I gave you in the beginning to kind of get you started on solving this problem. So you can see that there's 4 beakers because she had 4 liters. And then in each beaker, it's equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. So 4 liters is equivalent to 4,000 milliliters. Model it. So you can use a table to help convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit of liquid volume. The table below shows there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. It also shows how many milliliters are in 2, 3, 4, and 5 liters. So again, 4 liters is equivalent to 4,000 milliliters. All right, here are the connect and reflect question. It says complete and discuss the connected questions. Reflect on what you learned. These pages are in your Ready book that you should have open in front of you, following along. I want you to go ahead and work on solving these problems or answering them inside your book. Number 9 says look at the picture of the beakers. How many milliliters are in 1 liter? Look at the number pairs in each column of the table. Each number of milliliters is how many times the number of liters? Then it asks you to write an equation to describe the relationship between the pair of numbers in the table. Number 11, use the equation to find the number of milliliters in liters. How many milliliters of orange juice did Julie make? And number 12, explain why the number of milliliters is always greater than the number of liters for each number pair in the table. So I want you to go ahead and take a few minutes and work on answering those questions. Then when you're done, we'll move on to the next slide. Apply your thinking. Here's 2 more additional problems that will help practice the same skill that you just worked on. So number 13, Awan bought 3 liters of apple juice. He plans to drink all of it in 6 days, drinking the same amount each day. How many milliliters will Awan drink each day? That is a multi-step word problem. So be sure to cube that problem and show your thinking. This problem is in your instructional book. However, there's not a whole lot of room to solve it. So that sheet of paper that you have out next to you, go ahead and use that to solve this problem. And number 14, Aaliyah made 8 liters of punch for a party. Write an equation and solve to find the number of milliliters of punch she has. And then there's a reminder that 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. So again, cube this problem in your book, solve it on your scrap paper, and then this is stuff that during the live session we'll go over the answers and any questions that you guys have about it. When you are done working on these 2 problems, I want you to go into your workbook, your iReady or your Ready workbook, and work on the problems assigned to you. Remember, this can be found on the calendar and also at the beginning of the slide. All right, remember to jot down any questions you guys have for your teachers during your live sessions. Have a great day.